So in a nutshell, Chat GPT has been a huge help to content creators. It assists them with tasks such as text generation, conversation simulation, just general dialogue, kind of get your mind going. It's been phenomenal help in that regard. It has also helped content creators save time. That's the big one as far as I'm concerned, and that is where the biggest breakaway is going to result moving forward. Definitely, as we all get to learn more about it, as we all get to interact better with it, I'm pretty sure that the time of the production process for people like me and a lot of other individuals out there, it's just gonna become better and better for us. So yeah, touche to that. You have to be very clear about what not to expect from ChatGPT. At the end of the day, no matter what happens, it is still a computer program. At the end of the day, whatever it comes back to you with, authenticity is where it's all gonna come down to. I remember not too long ago in my thesis years, that was like a decade back, yes, but still, for example, tools like Facebook had been through their infancy stage, and so now we were always calculating what to believe and what not to believe. The talk was exactly the same about Google as well, because Google can generate a lot of information for you even today. But the idea is, whatever you say, you need to be very authentic and very clear about it. I think that is the most critical area and the most critical aspect for everybody to consider while you are utilizing the software. Whatever it comes back to you with. Also, there are other technologies and other softwares available now which can detect if you've plagiarized using ChatGPT. So that's another aspect that you need to be very careful about. And as I said, no matter what happens, whatever you say, whatever you put out there in public, whatever you put out there in front of your colleagues or your teammates or your teachers especially, you need to be very careful, because there are softwares out there now and there is technology out there which is going to catch up and it's gonna call you out on it. And I believe that from a production process perspective, that is one segment where it hasn't really been much of a difference as of now, because at the end of the day, no matter what you do, you have to go back and you have to kind of authenticate the information that was provided. So that means that for production, I am still dependent on the 10 resources that I've identified, and I keep going back to in order to authenticate everything that I'm consistently recording, that I'm consistently working on, the subjects that I narrow down. There are very clear segments to which, for example, AI is of help to me, and there are those that I would never ever take a chance on. So that's I think and that's a huge one, because unless and until you understand the importance of being authentic, whatever you are saying coming across authentic and being authentic, you can get in trouble. So my advice to you is, if you're a content creator, especially if you're a content creator out there, be very wary of this fact. You have to be very careful in considering that whatever you are saying, it could be wrong. So there's only one way to find out, and that is you need to keep on going to back to your resources. You have to keep on working on and getting to know whether something is true, whether something is consistently updated and is a fact as we speak about it today or not. Now, here also you have to understand, I've covered this before in the video and I'm going to come back to it. There are times when the information that comes back to you is not correct. So you need to be very wary of all of this. At the end of the day, its information available is limited. The e-directory that it's based on, for example, in order to understand better, it's limited by 2021. So you have to be very, very careful with that and just use it for where its advantages are. Don't ask for it to do what it's not supposed to do. You don't ask a fighter jet to do work on your agricultural lands, right? You can't eat meat and expect to get the advantages of a milkshake. So why utilize something like this to do the work that at the end of the day it's not designed to do? Biggest advantage, speed and efficiency. If you know what you're talking about, if your area of interest you've mastered over the years, or if you have a fairly decent enough grasp on, you're going to be able to identify what it's coming back to you with. Is it correct or not? And so speed and efficiency, I believe, is the biggest advantage. As a whole, AI and AI technologies now in this AI revolution are going to bring about, have already brought about. And as time goes along, remember, it's just going to keep on getting better. So Yeah, that's the biggest advantage. And as far as somebody like me is concerned, I would welcome it. I would welcome it any given day. The skepticism can always be there. But, skepticism was there when calculator was invented. It was always there in so many areas throughout the previous century. The examples are there. So skeptics can kind of, relax in this. At the end of the day, it's at its infancy age. And I don't think it really poses much of a threat. I would very much believe that it gives us a lot of advantage in being able to produce our say faster. And why wouldn't you want that? So in conclusion, well, first and foremost, it has to improve its availability. I mean, it's a huge disappointment because, as I said, for a very long time, it just wasn't available. And in comparison, Playground, which is supposed to be a platform not as good as Chat GPT from what I've been able to gather, or at least the amount of information and the amount of discussion that is out there, if you're able to kind of proportionally compare the two, Chat GPT is like right up there, and Playground you're barely able to find anything about. And even if you go on playground.ai, it kind of asks you, do you want to go to Chat GPT? At the same time, it's the one platform that is always available compared to Chat GPT. So I think that is, in conclusion, my biggest disappointment. Definitely, whoever the creators are, they need to do a better job in making sure that the availability is there. If that's your limitation, then here's my advice. At least have better communication for people to understand where the availability is at, where the availability matrix is. Is it at 90%? Is it at 100% capacity? If it's at 100% capacity, communicate with individuals who have signed in. Drop them an email, drop them a notification or something like that we're not available, we're at full capacity. Conversation is everything, right? That's what this is about. You create dialogue and you get some response in turn, which could either be extremely helpful or not helpful at all, and there are degrees in between. Well, ironically enough, the communication and the feedback has been very disappointing, because just telling me that it is at its capacity and it's not available, somebody like me who has had decent enough experience in being able to create content by myself, there will come a time that I will say, all right, you know what, I don't need you, I'm gonna do it myself. Or alternatively, there are alternatives out there, so I'm gonna opt for one of them. In conclusion, I would also want to see what it evolves into moving forward as far as the business end is concerned. If there's a next beta version, or if there's a 2.0 version coming up, are they gonna start charging for it? Because if that happens, you're gonna see an immediate drop in the amount of traffic that they're able to generate. Now, I don't know how dependent is Chat GPT on and its machine learning mainframe on the amount of people that are able to interact with it, but if it's highly dependent on it, if not completely dependent, then highly dependent on it, then that's going to be a problem. According to my limited knowledge, I would not want to see that happen. But at the end of the day, business is business, and I completely understand. However, there's absolutely no getting around the fact. This is the great equalizer. It's not the Google of our day and age. I don't think so. Google, by its definition, has become something completely different. It has evolved into so much more. ChatGPT is like one aspect of it. But in that area of interest, ChatGPT has given Google its run of the money. It's been covered globally. There's absolute coverage for it all the time. It's so much content on YouTube, funny enough, has been about ChatGPT, and people are doing some amazing work with it. So in the interest of technology, I am as fascinated and as excited to see it having come along. I'm extremely thankful to the people. We live in a world where we don't get a lot of acknowledgement and appreciation to our face. Well, here I am telling you that thank you very much for the effort that you've done, and I absolutely cannot wait to see where this moves forward. And if this is the power of AI, I am all for it, because artificial intelligence applied smartly is exactly what Sips of Tech is all about. That is exactly why I started to do this, because get it straight, technology is going to be our great savior. You can think the other side as much as you possibly can, but if you're highlighting the positives all the time, if that is where your focus is, then sky is the limit with what we can do to better the world around us and to better the lives that we live and engage with every single day, from the moment we go to bed and the moment that we wake up. I see artificial intelligence applied smartly playing a phenomenal role in making lives more interesting, better, and the services in turn that can prompt or pop up. I think that's the future that I would very much want to look forward to. So thank you very much for your time. I absolutely appreciate being with you. I appreciate the time that you would have spent watching this. Give your feedback. Speak to me. Think of me as another friend that you can pass your ideas along with. Next up is Playground, and looking forward to speaking to you there. Thank you, and help me monetize this channel. It doesn't cost you much to press a couple of buttons, does it? Pass the word along. That way I get to learn a lot about my work in these early days. Thank you. Take care. Have a wonderful day.